Daily Parsha Insight, page, survey says 169. Okay, so we described in today's Chumash, in the 6th Aliyah for Friday, Moses is recounting that we conquered all the territory of Og, King Og's royal region. The land of Israel, vis-a-vis the rest of the world, is called God's royal palace, God's royal region, right? Israel is the most suited for God's mitzvahs and presence than anywhere else on earth, right? Both because of the temple, both because of the extra mitzvahs there, that Israel, the land of Israel, is more suitable for God's, right? Kings, had like special palaces and regions they lived in. Even though they all had a huge kingdom, they had certain, capital cities or whatever. So God owns the whole world, but his palace is in Israel because that's where he's most at home. That's where God's presence can rest the most. Whenever divine providence, your life situation, which is divine providence, leads you to conquer a place outside the borders of the land of Israel, whether through military conquest, purchasing real estate, or even just living there, it is in order that we spread divine consciousness there. We thereby transform that part of the world to a spiritual extension of Israel. Thus, when the Jewish people, right, it wasn't the original plan for them to conquer. They weren't trying to conquer this adjacent land of Israel of Og and Sichon. Because Og and Sichon attacked, they had no choice to defend themselves, and they ended up winning and getting the land. Right, exactly. That's why the Rabbi was very against giving back. Like, God's giving you on a royal platter. How could you give something back? It's a slap in the face. Okay. Anyways, but when we get, so again, in the microcosm of our life, there's holy parts of life, and then there's kind of mundane parts of life, and even where you live, which is God sends you there for whatever reason, and you're there, and you're ultimately transforming the mundane part and place of life that you live in to what? To become part of God's palace, as Og, this unexpected windfall land, became part of Israel. Okay. Only when Mashiach comes with the final redemption will the whole world be filled with knowledge of God as water covers the seabed. So right now we're limited of what we appreciate about God and feel God. Until then, the divine consciousness we can achieve outside the land of Israel can never compare what we reach within its borders. Nevertheless, if we are sufficiently so, living in the diaspora will never be as holy in a external way as what goes on in the land of Israel. The opportunity is there. Nonetheless, if we are devoted to our divine mission to make Rochester, the land of Israel, like holy, right, then we can make it an extension of Israel. The famous story of the Tzemach Tzedek, that one of his followers, who was I think a shochet, a communal leader in a certain village, town, a slaughterer, a very respectable, holy Jew, and he wanted to move to Israel. And the Tzemach Tzedek, the third Chabad Rebbe, says, your mission is to take care of the people of your town. But he says, I want to live in the holiness land of Israel. The Tzemach Tzedek, the third Chabad Rebbe, told him, Mach da Eretz Yisrael. You have to make here Israel.
I think the Frierdiker Rebbe said that. Mach da Eretz Yisrael.
They all quoted it, but it was from the Tzemach Tzedek.
Really? Oh.
If my cheder memory serves me right.
Okay, thank you.
We can, just like this, everything we do in our mission today is precedented by the stories of the history of the Jews in the Bible, of the Torah. The goal was to live in Israel, but it comes your way places where you live outside Israel to sort of conquer it, to become subsumed, sublimated into holiness. That can become an extension of the land of Israel. And that paves the way for the final redemption where everything becomes an extension of Israel.
Wow.
That is kind of why I guess Chabad does this, set up Chabad houses everywhere thing.
In the work.
Okay, a few mitzvahs, a lot of mitzvahs today. Let's do it quickly. The 68th prohibition is that even a Kohen Gadol may not always enter the temple due in the daily Sefer HaMitzvahs, Book of Mitzvahs. The 68th prohibition is that even a Kohen Gadol, high priest, cannot enter the temple always because it's very holy, though. It's the divine presence there. You can't just go. You only go when it's the right time. The 165th prohibition is that the Kohanim are forbidden from leaving the temple when they are in the middle of performing the temple service. So you can't leave the middle of your service. The 31st mitzvah is that we're commanded to remove from the temple people who are tameh. 77th prohibition is that anyone who is tameh, impure, is forbidden from entering anywhere in the temple. In later generations, this corresponds to the entire temple courtyard from the gate of Nicanor, the copper huge gates and inward, which was the beginning of the Israelite courtyard. The 78th prohibition of today's Rambam is that a person who is tameh, impure, is forbidden from entering the Machane Leviah, the Levite camp, which later corresponded to the Temple Mount. As we explained in our commentary at the beginning of Tractate Kalim, the prohibition against people who are tameh, impure, entering the Temple Mount is explained there.